This is the Fat Loss Pro Podcast.
Fat Loss Pro Podcast.
Discover what's needed to burn, build, and shape the body you want. You'll walk away knowing what you need to do to create results now. Chris DeFay is the authority on fat loss and getting you in shape. Cutting edge, results-based info from the world's best that unveils the curtain to quicker, simpler, no-nonsense fat burning, muscle building, and quality health.
Welcome to the Fat Loss Pro podcast. I'm the Fat Loss Pro, Chris DeFay, and today I have the second part of the trilogy, all about how you can not be getting the fat loss results, even despite doing everything right. You will certainly want to listen to, if you haven't already, to the episode before this that's all about the diet dilemma. This episode is about the lifestyle effect. This is where I get to give you the tips, tactics, and truths about why it's not just the nutrition and training that's going to be affecting your body and health. This is what lifestyle factors matter and what you can do about them now to fast track fat loss, how you're sabotaging yourself on a daily basis, and ideas to get you back on track from today. I also want to make clear the important factor that the headline of this series being despite you doing everything right, I want to highlight that right bit. Picking a cookie cutter plan from a magazine or friend is not necessarily the right plan. I have people literally coming to me every day with being frustrated to the point of being fed up, of staying strict to their plan and determined and not getting the body changes they wanted. It takes me a few little tweaks to change up their diet approach and training to bring about the transformations that they want. Plus, as I discuss in this episode, the lifestyle factors that matter for getting the results that you want. Use these before I also get into this, if you want to be getting some free coaching, I'm starting a new segment called Ask the Pro. This is where you can get all your questions answered, and this is where I'm going to be able to spend the necessary time to give you more than the blanket answers that you've been given before. So this is so you get the tips and tactics to use and see results faster for what you need. Now you can use my Facebook page or get onto www.chrisdufay.com to be able to ask away, and I'm sure you're going to absolutely love this episode because I get to delve deep on a couple of factors that we haven't talked about yet. Enjoy.
Live now, and I have Chris here. And what time is it there in Bali?
6 p.m.
2 hours. 6 p.m. Very good. And it's 8 o'clock here, so I have had my dinner and I've got my cup of licorice tea, which is good for the sleep. Very sort of appropriate. So welcome to our second video that we're doing, which is appropriately called The Lifestyle Effect. And we sort of decided, I decided actually, just to pick two kind of big topics in this area, being sleep and stress, which I think were kind of the most obvious ones. So we're going to try and get through some questions in the next 30 to probably 45 minutes, depending on how fast we talk, Chris. So let's get sort of, actually first, Chris, how are you?
I'm good, I'm very good, thank you. We were just saying before we hit record that I was a bit sick a couple of days ago. I was in my deathbed, but everything is all good now and I'm back to full health.
Excellent, very good. And what did you have for breakfast today?
Today was cinnamon chicken and broccoli and grated zucchini. That's
like probably what I eat at least twice a day, cinnamon chicken, every day.
It's really good. To tell you the truth, Lauren, my wife, for everyone else that doesn't know, put me on the cinnamon chicken, and obviously she's been doing a lot of the cooking lately, so that's what's in the fridge for me. So, and I'm actually really liking it.
It's everyone always sort of goes, what, like cinnamon? And I'm like, I put cinnamon on everything, so. But yeah, it does. It works. It's one of those weird food combinations that just works very well. So.
But actually, I absolutely hit a gold mine today because obviously being in Indonesia, there's a lot of rice here. So my main carb source is probably rice. And I even bought a rice cooker. So I have a rice cooker now. And I cooked some rice and I got back from the gym. And so obviously that's a pretty high carb meal for me at the moment. I get about 70 grams all up total carbohydrates in that meal. And I was just like, oh, because I was a bit crook the last couple of days, I didn't really feel like having another meal of meat. And so anyway, the rice I've got is quite glutinous, like it's quite sticky. And so I mixed it up with protein powder, and it was like creamed rice, and it was just absolutely awesome. I was doing cartwheels. It was so good. And then I had the great idea.
I'm gonna cut you off here with your carb porn. Stop it.
And then I had the great idea that I'm going to make some coconut sticky rice tomorrow with it. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Let's get on to the questions, because it was not a training day for me today. I only did sprints, so there was no carbs. So now I'm just going to hate you a little bit. So sort of a quick recap on what we covered in the first video. We spoke a lot about nutrition, and we spoke about carb timing and how it sort of affects your fat loss. And I've got the first question that I wanted to ask you is, let's say you've got your sort of nutrition nailed, your trainings, you're doing good training sessions, but you're still not getting those fat loss results that you're after, or even muscle gaining, or whatever your physique goals are. So I think some of the biggest lifestyle factors is obviously going to be the sleep and stress, and I want to sort of go through stress first and how it affects us like on a physiological level, and how it's going to also impact sort of our progress from a physique point of view, so for fat loss and fat burning.
Awesome. I think sleep and stress go hand in hand really, really well, and normally if one's out of whack, the other one is as well. And so I think it's great that we're going to try and squeeze these two in, because it's perfect for the listener. And stress in the everyday world that we live in today is a real problem, because as everyone kind of has probably heard once or twice before, or a million times, is the lifestyle that we lead now, our stress hormones, our cortisol, our other hormones like epinephrine and norepinephrine are going off throughout the day all the time, because we have different stimuli of stress, where obviously our ancestors and where we've come from, it was the saber-toothed tigers and all that jazz. These days it's relationship stress, financial stress, work stress, nutritional stress, toxicity stress, all those kind of stresses combined, and they culminate into a real problem throughout the day. So really we just talk about cortisol, and cortisol being one of the main stress hormones that is elevated a lot throughout the day. That can play on other of the hormones and systems of our body, like the adrenals, and then obviously it can turn into a bit of a downward spiral from there. So the way cortisol is supposed to work is we wake with high cortisol. That's what kind of wakes us in the morning, and then it peaks, and then it slowly comes down through the day, and then obviously in the afternoon, nighttime, that's when it's lowest. That's when we're supposed to be chilled out, and we go off to bed with nice low cortisol levels. And so normally what happens is we have high cortisol in the morning, then it leads on to having high cortisol at night, because we're flicking through our Facebook feeds, or we're watching Zoe or Chris on the internet, or it's all those kind of lifestyle factors play into it. And obviously when people have real problems with their stress and their cortisol is what's called an inverted curve, that's when your cortisol's low in the morning but then high at night. So this is when people are struggling to wake up in the morning. This is when you just want to hit the snooze button a million times, not roll out of bed, just want to curl under the covers, and you're struggling to fall asleep. And obviously I think a lot of people can relate to that as well. So I think that's probably the biggest problem that we kind of run into, is how we can kind of deal with it. And that's when we talk about the meditation, I think I hesitate sometimes to say meditation. I've got nothing wrong with meditation and taking on meditation. I do it myself every single day. But I think a lot of people a little more open, if I said deep breathing exercises. Bloody thing at the end of the day anyway, but anyway, so not too new age for all those other people. So they can take on things like that, gratitude journals, just chilling out really. Like, it's not that hard, but it is hard for a lot of people. But yeah, you've got to learn to chill.
Yeah, definitely. And that was sort of where I wanted to go and see what kind of tips and strategies we can share. So I know that for myself with PCOS, managing my stress is really important for the cortisol levels, but also just overall. And I actually, sort of ironically, I use a lot of sort of technology, sort of apps and things to use my sort of manage my stress. And you just reminded me of a great one. When was it? Last video we did was the Stress Doctor one.
Yeah.
And I had stopped doing it after one try a couple of weeks ago because I got so frustrated because I couldn't do it, and so I just gave up. And then after you explained to me how you do it, now I'm getting really good at it. So it's actually just a deep breathing one, but I find having sort of apps or certain like tools and things kind of remind me to do it. So like having that gratitude journal like in a place that you always see it, or a reminder on your phone or whatever it is. I don't know, they sort of work very well for me. What other things do you do, Chris?
I'm a very routine-based person, so every morning I follow like a pretty, like not strict, but I follow a routine that pretty much works to the T every single morning, Monday to Sunday, doesn't matter which day. And so a part of that is I do sit down and I write in my gratitude journal in the morning. If people struggle to fall asleep, it can be something that's really good to do before you go to sleep to kind of have that right mindset. But I kind of set myself up for the day feeling good and energized and positive by doing that in the morning. So I kind of set myself right from the start of the day for what's coming up. I use that Stress Doctor app at least once, realistically maximum twice a day, only for about 5 minutes at a time. And so I work in blocks of 90 minutes. So what I usually do is I'll work for 90 minutes and then I'll give myself a 10-15 minute break, and a part of that 10-15 minutes is I'll either walk out or jump in the pool. I might use the Stress Doctor for 5 minutes. I'll eat, and then like if my daughter's around, I'll have a bit of a play and a bit of a fart around with her and chill out, and then I'll jump back in and get back into the work to kind of keep it going. So I kind of chill out that way in blocks of it, because I find that really works, and it's great for work as well, being able to be productive and creative the whole time. I just remembered as well, and I'll have to give credit to my wife Lauren for this a while ago, and she said where she got it from was it activates your pituitary gland. And so what you do is you just sit in the sun and you stare in the sun, but obviously with your eyes closed. So you put like your third eye towards the sun and just deep breathe for 2 minutes. And obviously the light helps activate your pituitary gland. Look, to tell you the truth, a lot of these things can be pretty woo-woo, but I tell you what, it is so effective. Like just staring straight into the sun, eyes closed, and just having that warmth on your face and then just breathing deep. Like I always try and do 6 to 8 seconds in, a second or two hold, either way, 6 to 8 back out. And it's rejuvenating. It is. It's like, I feel like I could probably go and be a yoga teacher now after talking about it. It really does chill me.
I actually don't think it's that woo. I mean, pretty much what you described to me was sunbaking, which
to tell you the truth, I do love getting in the sun and having and lie down, and that's one of the things I know. If I always need to hit the reset button, I just go to the beach. Like for me, it's the beach, it's the sound of the waves, it's laying on the sand, and just getting those UV rays on me as well. Like obviously, I tan pretty easily. can hold its hand easily, but I know if I'm starting to turn a bit pasty and a bit Casper-like, I need to get some sun, and it helps me chill out a lot more as well.
I don't think you're going to have that trouble in Bali, so.
I guess that's why I'm going from the sun. I'm going from Dubai to Bali, just the endless summer.
Yeah. We're, John and I are exactly the same with the beach. Like, it's the one place that we, you know, or anywhere near water, pretty much. You go near water, and I switch off and relax.
It's true, and that's the thing. I need that. Like, I know if I haven't had it for a little while, I start going a bit stir crazy. So it's a good thing. And going back to the gratitude journal, like, I know there's obviously heaps of different ways people can do it, and like I just write in a notepad. It's just a lined notepad, nothing fancy, like no coolness about it. Like you could do it in your phone, like think about all the different ways. Like if people were sitting on the bus going to work, they could sit and do it in their note section on their phone. Do you know what I mean? You could just actively sit down and think about what you had to do. Like I even saw, I think it was a podcast interview I did with someone recently, but he mentioned there's a company that actually makes gratitude journals. And so the pages are written out, and in the pages, the questions are asked right in front of you. But I think if someone really struggles to do the gratitude journal, that's a great way to do it. Like literally handheld through the whole process, and you have the questions ready to rock every single time you open up the book. So that's cool things as well. But look, I think down and out, like there's all the cool apps and all that kind of stuff works, and obviously that works for you, and I think that's phenomenal. I try and stray away from technology a lot because I'm obviously around it a lot of the time, and it's something that I really try and consciously step out of, just because it's like I work on the computer, or I'm dealing with clients on the computer, or I'm interviewing people, like social media work, all that kind of stuff. So getting out of it's a good thing as well for me. But I think as well, it's just, and a lot of people probably just struggle with this, it's just having the mindset of just chilling the hell out as well, like not taking just everything as a personal attack or just too seriously as well. I think that really works. And like, look, if financial stress is a problem for you, deal with it. Like, grow up, pull your socks up, and get a hold of your financial status. Like, if you need to earn more money, earn more money. If you're just stressed out because you don't know what's going on, get the systems in place and manage your money properly. Like, it's not that hard, I think, as well, but it's something we always have to work on and always continually be working on.
Yeah, definitely. I think that mindset of dealing with stress is a big deal. I know that I probably used to be, well, I'm still a perfectionist, I won't lie, but I used to let that kind of dictate how I would deal with things if they, like, I couldn't handle change at all. And over the last probably 5 years, I actually really like change now. And when things happen in my day that, you know, you would think are stressful, and the people around me get stressed, and I just kind of go, all right, well then, you know, moving on to the next one, and just keep moving. Like, there's no point. You know, you can only let it affect you how it affects you. So
exactly, and that's definitely the right mindset to have with it. Like, it's funny, I've never really thought about it until a couple of weeks ago, but I always hit a point or something to do with my life, and I always just want to like just go for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we found out that Lauren was pregnant with Arlo, and then we ended up moving to Dubai. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we made the decision to move to Dubai 3 weeks after finding out that she was pregnant. And then we moved from Dubai. We didn't go back home to Australia. We've come to Bali, and obviously Bali is fantastic, and we're absolutely loving it. But the first couple of weeks were hard, like getting everything dealt with, and like being out, like moving internationally, and especially with a 1-year-old. Like, it's not easy, and it's not a small feat, but that's the thing. And obviously, I was like, holy shit, like, I have to chill out now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm taking way too much on trying to run the multiple businesses and everything like that as well. So it's a tough thing. And you know what? I think a bit of stress is a good thing as well. Like, I don't think you're supposed to be going through life the whole time merry and like just taking things really lightly and wearing happy pants the entire time. I think it's good to go through stress because that's how we get stronger. But it's when you have it going on for too long and it starts causing problems, and that's when you have to do something.
Yeah, I've always got my happy pants on.
Good girl.
It's mandatory. Cool. Well, I think we've probably touched enough on the stress stuff. So, you know, like meditation, apps if they work for you. I love the gratitude journals as well.
Actually, look, sorry, I'm going to butt right in real quick. I think the other part of stress that people need to know about is just, and we talked a lot about it in part one, but nutritional stress. If people aren't eating right, if they're eating a lot of sugar, and like that part of it, that's a stress factor that comes into the play as well. Like you can be nutritionally stressed about what's going on, but obviously listen to the part one, just deal with all the, like you and I give a lot of great tips, advice and plans and all that jazz about what to do with diet and food. Do that.
Yes, definitely. I think nutritional stress is a huge one, and also we won't keep going down this path because we'll be here all night. But also, you know, environmental stress, which you briefly mentioned, and I think a big one is even that, you know, the BPA's in your plastic and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people who, you know, stop heating your plastic containers in the microwave.
Yeah.
And I used to do this. I'm guilty. Until a few years back, and then I realized, and it's one of those habits you've got to get out of. Like I know that I'm carrying around 5 or 6 containers of food a day, and it felt like such an effort at first putting it into a bowl. That sounds really lazy, but you're like, when you do it 6 times, it's like, oh god, I gotta like do this again, or I just eat it cold. Honestly.
Yeah, I just eat it cold.
Pretty much.
Even
most
warm,
of the time, people.
Luxurious.
Yeah, freshly cooked. What? Cool. All right. Well, let's go on to the next question because that's probably another topic altogether. So obviously our next one, apart from stress, is the big one, which I think is sleep. And this has been something that has affected me a lot this year. So probably for the first 4 months of the year, I was on about 3 to 4 hours sleep a night. And it really didn't help my body, and I'm probably more sensitive to it with the PCOS, and I'm now struggling with sort of some adrenal fatigue and hypothyroid, nothing like clinically diagnosed, but my naturopath's been kind of working me through that, so we're just sort of trying to build up that kind of strength there, I guess, and the sleep's been a big factor, and she actually said, you know, like compulsory 8 hours a night, and I've had to rearrange a lot of things and basically make some cuts in my life to make sure I can fit everything in that's important, and, you know, reduce the kind of the time fillers and time wasters. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how important is your sleep, and how does that affect your body on a hormonal level?
I think sleep is probably the most underrated factor with weight loss. By far. I think everyone takes their sleep for granted, and it's like I would put my hand up first and say, you know what, for the last 10 years, I have definitely not taken sleep on as much as I should have, because you always kind of think, oh yeah, no, I'm doing all right, or I'm getting enough, and like I was getting a good 7 hours sleep usually, because I would always wake up at about 4:30 a.m. to like start work or read or something like that before I go and see clients and all that kind of jazz. But I think the quality and quantity of sleep is where you have to look at things first, and usually quantity goes out the window pretty easily, because people are going to bed too late and they're having to wake up too early. And so you're just not getting the amount of hours that you have to get in. And they say, look, 7 to 9 hours is the recommendation. And I'll admit, once I've gotten here to Bali, and obviously I've tailored my work schedule, life schedule around to being able to wake up now at 6 a.m. So that's actually when the sun comes up. I've noticed a huge difference with how I feel in the day. It's like massive. It's like in a positive term. really good. And I cannot believe I've gone through the last 10 years without doing this and always being like, no, that's all right. I can get up. Because that's the thing. I was so motivated to work on other things and improve other areas of my life that sleep is usually the first one that gets the kick out the door. And so I think it's really important because obviously if you're not recovering and having that recoup time, your body is not getting what it needs to take care of everything at hand, because sleep's a very important thing. And as we we're just talking about, if your sleep's out of whack, your stress is going to be higher as well. And so I think if you're struggling, firstly, with the quantity, make the changes that you need to so you can get the quantity in. And like, obviously your naturopath said 8 hours. I think that would be like a bare minimum for someone to get in 8 hours.
I think she was trying to be realistic with me.
Yeah, no, and that, you know what, that's a really good thing, and it's an important point to take on. Because if someone was sleeping, like if someone's listening now and they go, okay, I'm sleeping 4 hours a night, Chris is saying sleep 9 hours a night, that's too big a jump. And then it's the balance between idealistic and realistic, and you have to like just take incremental steps. Do you know what I mean? All right, let's just get 7 hours, and you get that for a couple of months, then move it up. And see how you feel along the way as well. But I think it's really, really important to make sure that you just get the quantity in. And then the quality is also a really important thing. And I think this is where most people fall off the wagon. They're going to bed and they're not falling asleep properly. And I think if you're waking up during the night and it's a real problem during the night, as in, I think it's not too much of a drama. If someone wakes up during the night and has to go quickly off to the toilet, they jump back in bed and they fall asleep very quickly. I'm not too fazed by that, like from a coach's perspective. If someone's struggling to fall back asleep, then that's a problem that has to be looked at. But I think if you at least take on the responsibility to make sure that when you go to sleep, is a priority for yourself, as in you have to wind down properly. So not, as we said, not being on the technology the whole time. That's a very important thing. And like not doing things that are really going to amp you up. So obviously you're not going to want to do a training session like and think about going to bed straight after, because that's just not going to work for you. Just being able to like chill out, wind down, have a breather, relax, let your body really, do you know what I mean, cool its jets before you go off to sleep. And I think like easy things is don't watch TV, like don't watch TV. I'm really avid about not watching TV before you go to bed. Read, chill out, stretch, meditate, deep breathe, write, just do something like talk to your husband, wife, girlfriend, brother, sister, whatever, chill out and just be able to wind down. And I also think in the bedroom itself, like I'm a really big believer that the bedroom is only for two things, sleep and sex. You should not be doing anything else in your bedroom, because really it's like if you have a TV in your bed, well, you're just shooting all the rules out the window. And like, okay, the thing is I do charge my phone in bed and I do use this as an alarm, and I know it's the one thing that I shouldn't be doing is having my phone or waking up to an alarm, but I put it on the other side of the room. And like, ideally no one should really wake up to an alarm. You should be able to naturally wake up, but that's not entirely realistic, as we were just saying before, with a lot of people. And that's one thing on my I know I'm successful when list, that is when I don't have to wake up to an alarm. But for the meantime, at least try and tick all the boxes with it as well. And then if you like supplementation, like nutrients to help, I always start with magnesium, and then my next step after that is pairing it with taurine as well. And that helps a lot with sleep, recovery, and also like many other metabolic actions in the body. And then also I like taking vitamin C like with dinner as well, because that helps lower cortisol.
Cool. And I'm gonna admit I'm technically in the bedroom at the moment because John's in the other room. So I have a laptop in here, but normally it's an absolute no-go. And I'm the same. I use my phone as an alarm to wake up in the morning, but I do hate screens in the bedroom, and I've banned the idea of getting a TV in the bedroom as well. So it's
Good. No, very,
I
I think it's an
yeah.
important thing to do as well. And especially like if obviously if you're single, it's like okay, it's a little bit different. But like if you have a partner as well, like I really think it's an important thing not to have like TV and other electronics and stuff like that in your bedroom, because that's the time for you two. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean you have to be rolling around wildly in the nude with each other, but at least just being able to chill out and and enjoy
I'm
each other.
not sure where this webinar is going now, Chris.
It's an important part.
Yeah, it is, and it's great for stress as well. So, and what about what sort of foods to eat before bed? I know that we mentioned briefly in the nutrition thing about having carbs in the evening, and some people might panic and be like, God, I can't eat carbs after 3 o'clock. But I know personally when you've had carbs in my sort of dinner meal or one of the later meals in the day, I definitely sleep really well with that.
Yeah,
how does that sort of affect it?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest like misconceptions is the whole like carbs after like 3 or 4 p.m. or whatever it is. It's just,
whatever magic time it is.
Yeah, like what your body suddenly turns into fat storing mode with a certain macronutrient. Like it doesn't work that way. And
the carb unicorns vanish at 4 o'clock.
That's very well put. I think as we touched on this a lot in the part 1, so I don't want to talk about it too much. But it's if someone, especially for females as well, I find it works a lot better than for males. I don't know why, but it is if you just had your carbs, say post-workout and then pre-bed, like that works really well, because serotonin, the hormone, like the feel-good hormone that lets you relax, that's what's going to have you fall asleep nicely. And that's also another reason why I generally recommend cheat meals, permissive meals, to be had at I kind of like them at 6 p.m. So it gets you wound down, but it's not too close to bed that you're going to normally most people, if they have a cheat meal, they kind of stuff themselves. So I don't want them to stuff themselves and then try and go to bed an hour after that.
Yeah.
It's kind of 6 p.m. You kind of have a couple of hours where you're really mellowed out. I kind of call it you're surfing the serotonin wave. You're just you're real chilled and enjoying it and not talking too much, and it's a good thing and it helps you sleep. So I do like carbs before bed. I don't like keeping the fats too high before bed, just like a moderate protein, have a little bit of fats in the meal and then a bit of carbs as well. I always kind of recommend pumpkin, sweet potato, rice or legumes, that kind of stuff works really well.
Yeah, so quality, slow digesting carbs as opposed to sugary sort of dessert.
Yeah, some fruit, perfectly fine. With a lot of clients, you might hate me, but I don't have you doing this, Zoe. But for a lot of clients, I have say a protein powder, like a casein protein, like a slow digesting protein, and I just say in a bowl, put the protein powder, and then put some frozen berries. Like a tablespoon of ground flax seeds. Some of them, when I'm putting carbs before it, I'll say quinoa, some cooked quinoa will be really good to put in there as well. And just mash it all together and put the frozen berries in there. You kind of mash, and it turns into a sorbet. And you've got a protein sorbet that you can have before bed. Obviously that works really well.
Yeah, I'm kind of not impressed. Why is this not my last meal of the day?
Normally people get that when they really need to try and fit a lot of calories into the day, because obviously it's like that's kind of like sometimes like my 7th or 6th meal for the day for people, and they kind of really try and cram them in. And usually it's the first meal that kind of might get taken out as well, because I find a lot of I think a lot of people should try that out, and I think they will try that out because the frozen sorbet sounds pretty good. But I've also found that it can be the tipping point factor with people gaining weight, as in like, because it's just the time that I introduce it into. It's like I'm really starting to push calories at that point.
Yeah, definitely. I've done a similar one. I just use sort of a protein powder and just the berries just in the food processor. And you're right, because they're frozen, it just turns into sorbet. It's really good.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal.
Not recently. Promise I'm sticking to my meal plan. No guilt. Cool. There was one more supplement I wanted to ask you about as well before we sort of wrap up. You mentioned magnesium and taurine, and another one that I've tried in the past. And the only reason I tried it is because John was using it, and I had run out of magnesium, so I tried his, and it was GABA.
Oh, yeah.
And I had like some I think I told you about this. I had really crazy like lucid dreams on it. Yeah. When I was a pigeon. It was really weird. I'm not going to explain the whole dream now, but like it actually kind of freaked me out to the point where I've never touched the stuff again.
We're going to have to deal with some deeper issues here, Zoe.
I don't know, but apparently that's not normal, but that was how it affected me.
No, I've heard that a lot with other people as well, but also,
right.
Hang on, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh my god. I've forgotten the name of another supplement. Shit, that's really going to annoy me. As soon as we finish this, I'm going to find it, and I'm going to have to put it up.
That's right, we'll put it in the link.
I'll put it in the post. Anyway, this other supplement also works really, really well because it also kind of helps, it helps re-establish your neurotransmitters. But GABA and this other supplement, the effects can be really wicked dreams because it can be too much. It can be too much of it for you. And I don't like if someone's coming back and saying like I'm having like wicked dreams. It can I don't kind of like that. And damn it. And with this other supplement, if you take too much of it, a lot of people come back and say they had really vivid, like colourful dreams, that they were killing people, or like they were doing like really like it was like they would come back and be like, oh, it was a weird dream. Like they really. Is this
the legal one, Chris?
Yeah, no, it's all legal. It's all natural.
All right. Yeah. Well, there's lots of natural illegal ones as well.
No, this is all legit. And yeah,
sex, drugs, and rock and roll in this webinar tonight.
But I think with GABA, I think people should try it out, and I would also suggest that you cycle in and out of it. Like you don't keep.
Right.
I just tell you the truth. There isn't maybe a greens powder you would go the whole time with, but you always try and cycle nutrients in and out, like supplements. Or I even say just change the brands of the supplements because they're obviously coming from different sources. That's an important thing as well. Don't just kind of like get one supplement, you're going to take it forever. Like keep changing it so the body gets a little bit of a different stimulus from it. I think that's important as well.
Very good. And just quickly, what's some of the sort of hormones that, I know that sleep's obviously really important for your recovery, and how does it kind of affect us as far as recovering from training and with muscle growth and things like that?
Hugely. Like all your hormones are related to it. I wouldn't start like picking a couple of them out. I think if your sleep isn't up to par, you're having a huge effect on your entire endocrine system. Your muscle building abilities are hugely impacted. Like you build muscle during sleep. Your growth hormone, your main growth hormone production spurt is when you're in sleep. And that's obviously very important both for fat loss and building muscle tissue. Oh yeah, I just think you have to do it. If you're listening to this now and you don't make a concerted effort to making your sleep better tonight and from now on, you're a fool.
Yeah, I agree completely because it's made a big difference too. I really don't operate very well with little sleep, but I just ended up drinking a lot of coffee for the first 4 months of this year. And I found that I was getting up at 4 or 4:30, 5 days a week, and then still early on the weekends. And the hardest thing I found about getting those 8 hours in is that I would go to bed early, but I was still waking up at that time just because it was like just drummed that into my body clock, and it took me probably about a month to actually just force myself to go back to sleep. And like even on the weekends I was waking up at like 5 and getting up like on a Sunday. it was
Actually,
insane.
no,
So
that's a really good point, Zoe. Sorry, that's one thing I forgot to say, is with your sleep patterns, you keep that all the way through the week. A lot of the time where people go wrong is they try and sleep in on the Saturdays and all their Sundays. I think that's where you actually bring everything out of routine, because the body does like routine, it does like cycles. So always wake up at the same time. Go to bed and wake up at the same time. That's like, I always just wake up at the same time no matter what. Like, and as you just said, like then once you're like own Apple alarm kind of kicks on. It's even the same, like even if you go out and have a big night, you go out somewhere and have a big dinner or festive or wedding or whatever it may be for a big event, you probably still wake up at the same time in the morning. That's probably a good thing. And if you're tired, have a nap during the day.
yeah, I was just going to say that. That's exactly what siestas are for.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Was there anything else you wanted to add? I feel like we've sort of covered everything.
I think it's been really, really good. I think there's a lot of key takeaways that we've given already for the listener to really use. And I think, like, and as I said before, like if you don't start using this, like you're just doing yourself a huge disservice. Stress and sleep are the two like easiest things. You know what? They're cheap. It's free. Like you can start dealing with stress for free. You can start improving your sleep for free. You can just start doing these things that we've already covered for you. Like, but the problem is, it's your own responsibility. Like for the listener, it's your responsibility that you have to take forward. No one's going to force you to do this. It's your willpower to make sure to go, okay, I'm going to do this now. You know what I mean? I'm not going to pull my phone out and start looking at Facebook or this is all that kind of stuff.
Yes, Facebook is pretty much the like devil to sleep, I guess, isn't it?
And it was like, she'll probably chop my head off for this, but Lauren kind of got in a little bit of a habit where she would pull out before we would go to bed and start flicking through Instagram. And I turned around and I was like, what are you doing, babe? And she was like, oh, it's like the only time in the day, like I don't get any other time to like do this. And I was like, I completely understand that like your day's chock-a-block full of stuff, but this is the last thing that you want to do before you go to bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, do something.
That perspective.
Yeah, I was just like, you just don't do that before bed. It's just no way. And I think once someone actually takes on board that they need to fix their sleep up, and then once they start experiencing really good quality sleep and feeling refreshed when they wake up, you never want to go back.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about that, you know, having to feel like you need to look at stuff on your phone. And I think we get conditioned to like those little red circles with numbers in them, which like tell us there's something there. And
it's
got to check it now. And it's like, no, you don't. You know what? It's there tomorrow.
It's why they make it, because the human mind likes to complete things. Like, you know how TV shows keep making you come back? Is because they kind of might leave something like, it's like the cliffhanger effect. You want to come back for more. And it's actually a bit of it's a marketing ploy as well, as in if I want to get you to keep reading my emails, I might like put a little bit of a cliffhanger effect into what's going on into the email, or I might tell you something's coming up. Like that's why TV shows say, or like coming up after the break, or this is what's happening then, or this might come up, or this might be happening. The human mind wants to complete things. So when you have that little bloody red circle come up, and there's a number there, it's an incomplete and you want to finish it. And so to tell you the truth, what I've done on my phone is I actually turned my notifications off, so I don't have those things come up, and so that helps.
See, I do. I've got, there you go, look, red little things everywhere.
And you know, the thing is as well, I think people are starting to become really conditioned into, like, when Facebook messages you, it's almost like people are starting to expect that you write back to them straight away. And it's like, not a phone call, like, I'm not on the phone with you, like, chill out. If you Facebook message me, like, I'm going to get back to you when I have to get back to you. And actually, to the point, as in, like, a lot of people have probably experienced this already, but if they Facebook message me and I'm out, like if I'm doing something, or if I've taken a complete day off or two or something like that, I actually get my assistant to write back to them and say, like, look, thanks for getting in touch with Chris. He's out for now. He'll come back to you later. Because it's the bloody point, people get all narky if you don't write back to them straight away to a Facebook.
So it's absurd, isn't it? We've got to have everything sort of instantly.
Yeah, and it's like when you hear that message tone go off, and look, this was something I had to be like, okay, this is not happening anymore, but like, you see the message go off, and you're like, oh, and it's like you want to run over, get your phone, write back to it. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Like that's why the technology was invented, was to actually be like, okay, that can be later. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to be on the phone to them the whole time.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think we get really reactive to things, and you've got to be more in control of how you use your time and spend it sleeping.
Exactly.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I'm going to leave us with a cliffhanger and a little teaser, because we've got our next video coming up soon. We're going to release the date very shortly. And that one is called The Dirty Details, and we're not going to talk about sex and drugs and rock and roll again, but we are going to talk about sort of the really nitty-gritty kind of things and use a couple of examples, so more into supplements and what sort of blood work to get tested and things like that. So I hope that you will come and listen to that one as well, and if you haven't already, you can register below this video, and you will get the link to that one too.
Awesome.
Very good. So thank you very much again, Chris, and we will chat soon.
I've just noticed I've been sitting in the dark the whole time.
You are. It's 2 hours earlier, so I don't know why you're darker.
The sun's already gone down here, and I'm sitting in my office, and I haven't turned the light on.
It's very dark. We can't really see you. We'll get you a candle for next one, okay?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you, Zoe.
This has been another jaw-dropping podcast from the Fat Loss Pro, Chris DeFay. After subscribing to the Fat Loss Pro podcast,
Go to www.chrisdefay.com
to get your free fat loss diet, training programs, insights, and more to burn fat faster and